Hello, everyone. We have Zlatan with us, and Zlatan, in two sentences, what was your business idea and how does it help the world?
My business idea, the last business idea is to help entrepreneurs, small to medium-sized entrepreneurs, in order to scale and optimize their business operations. However, I'm in entrepreneurship for almost 12 or 13 years. I cannot remember. Yeah, and I have built and started four companies, which I have sold until 2021. And after that, I decided to go in the direction of consulting, where I'm still right now with my company, Block 369.
So, when you went into entrepreneurship, what was the trigger? Was that some kind of idea or ideal? Somebody pushed you, or how does it started?
Yeah, that's an interesting one. Yeah, when I was in high school, it was not a push. It was not like a change in the mindset in the mid 20s. When I was in the high school, I don't know who asked me what I want to be when I finished the high school and what I want to do, but in that moment, I realized that I answered very quickly that I want to be a director of the company. In that moment, that was the top of the mountain in my head. And after, and everyone laughed. Everyone was laughing. Everyone was like uh, was not so serious about it. And maybe 7 or 8 years after that, no one was laughing anymore.
So, you went from ERP consulting to AR or VR or to operations for a startup. Was that a plan or a series of accidents?
I must admit that I don't believe in accidents. Everything is like one fine orchestrated plan. But in my head, cognitively, I was not planning to do that. When I finished economy here, and also I finished the MBA for executives in London School of Commerce in the UK. And someone would ask how I started my first engineering company. Actually, I started in my previous first job was as a consultant in one R&D company here in Serbia, and after that, I decided to go abroad try my career in Switzerland. And there I actually have met some people and started my consulting business in ERP implementation, especially in tannery business. So after that, there was an idea to gather a group of engineers to develop some ERP for tanneries, and from there I had some more ideas about PLC programming, about machine learning. Actually, we had a team of engineers, PhDs, four PhDs in 2018. We used to have our own algorithms, machine learning, and we won third prize in globally in China for that algorithm. And after that, I don't know. I loved that space. I love engineering, but I'm not thinking like an engineer. And I actually realized that I have something that engineers don't have. They have engineering mindset, and I have like a leadership mindset and an organization mindset.
Mhm. So, Block 369 covers the operational side and the human side. Uh, so, it's unusual for an operations consultancy. What made you put that in the same offer?
Yeah, thank you for that one. Basically, when I started my entrepreneurial journey, I started as a young, very, very brave guy. I can say, and I started like pushing everything physically. Physically, like really physically. I worked 12 plus hours a day, etc., etc. And at one point of time, that physical effort had some results. Every of my business was okay, but none of them was, let's say, extraordinary. And I decided, because in that moment I used to have 4 businesses at the same time, I decided to quit everything, to sell my businesses, and to start from the scratch. And I realized that there is one component that is missing in my business, and that is the spiritual, mental component. I will elaborate it. Basically, if you have a path, I will give you a path how to structure your business. So business operations, marketing, sales, and everything around it, people, etc. However, if a leader doesn't work on himself, on his mindset, on his beliefs, we will not come to the ideal solution for him. It will not succeed. We will not succeed as quickly or as fast as we could if the leader works on himself with a psychotherapist, a coach, or something else. Basically, if someone wants to work with me, basically the leader should work on himself as well. And we have in my group, we have supporters like psychotherapists, coaches, which help during that process of implementation of business operation system.
So, what do you find most of the leaders or business owners or founders? What is their biggest mistake that you eliminate when working with you?
Yeah, I wouldn't say that there are mistakes. I would say that there are actually some misalignments. Let's say they are aligning their business and life around the specific goals that they want to meet. However, those goals are not put correctly. Let's say in my methodology, I use also entrepreneurial operating system methodology, EOS, from Gino Wickman. And in that methodology, we are working on one particular part. It's called Vision Traction Organizer. There is a specific particular way of setting the goals. Let's say we are putting the goals from the future until the present, and we are executing those goals from the present to the future. And if we don't put correctly our strategic goals, we will not succeed in them. So basically, we always start from basic analysis, and then we are approaching where we want to go. After we set that tone, we can continue working on the other fields.
Excellent. So, what are the companies that you serve best, or what are your ideal clients, or who do you want to work with?
Yeah, basically, since I used to have a service-based companies, IT companies, creative companies. My ideal client is a service-based companies, starting from €500,000 to €20 million revenue. They're growing. They're maybe 5+ years in a business. Those are very enthusiastic, maybe family businesses as well. Also enthusiastic individuals who started the business from scratch, and they have succeeded to come to the certain point, and they are there at the ceiling. They don't know how to move forward. Either it is going abroad to the new market. Either it is growing the revenue from X to the Z amount, or something else. They actually don't know. And my ideal client is a high educational client, and with a high level of mental clarity. So if we want to work together, we want to meet in that particular space.
Okay. And what's the usual way of working? How long does it take? How much of their effort should it take? And how do you start? Because I think you have a particular starting point.
Yeah, basically everything comes with recognition of the problem. So if someone is not capable to recognize the problem, it is very hard to help them. So basically, we always start with recognition of the problem. that is the initial part. After that, we talk about that problem, and we initialize the process of analyzing the business. I have in my team we have 9 professionals. 4 of them are PhDs. We also have a team of engineers in artificial intelligence, business transformation of the technology, etc. And after that, after we do that initial analysis of the business, we start implementing 369 methodology. What does it mean? It means that we work together on a long period of time, let's say 8 to 9 months, in order to implement business operating system. After that, in let's say 60 to 70%, they are still with me with some kind of retainer, where I help them not that regularly, but often maybe once a month, in order to see where they are, and to help them.
Cool. And how much does it cost?
Yeah, it depends. Basically, from business to business to market to market, it can range somewhere between 1,500 to 4,000 euro monthly retainer. It is not a fixed rate. If we need to implement, and if we need to involve basically some other of my partners, my colleagues, it can vary basically. Yeah.
So you have worked with startups, but you didn't mention startups here. Are you somehow, what are your experience with startups? Are they different kind of animals that you don't want to work anymore, or you just not on your priority list?
Exactly. Those are not in my priority list. However, I love to work with in startup ecosystem. I used to have a couple of startups myself. Some of them were successful. Some of them were less successful. And in my point of view, when I started this consulting business, I initially wanted to start to work with the startups. And after some time, I decided to pivot from there and start working with well-established companies. However, even today, I am involved in the ecosystem. I'm mentoring one American startup program right now. A couple of days ago, I started working with them. I also am a lecturer in some science technology parks in Serbia. Also, I have in my team my colleague Alexander, who is very, very experienced in that area with budgeting, also internal organization, problem solving, etc. So basically, we do work with startups, but that is not our priority.
Okay. You also mentioned family companies and their transition or succession. Tell us about that.
Yeah, that is something that I particularly am working in past maybe 1.5 year. I'm exploring all the opportunities in that area. Basically, we in the Balkans, in the Balkan states, we have a lot of maybe 60. There are not specific data. But we assume that we here have maybe 60 or 70% family-owned businesses. In that sense, very big percentage of that businesses are in baby boomers, so 60 plus years. And 50% of the Western economy actually relies on the baby boomers. So basically, what we want to do, me and my team, we want to establish one, let's say, subsidiary here in Serbia, which could serve all the Balkans, where all the family businesses can knock on the door, one door, and ask for help, for any help. And I think that is something that is not yet here well recognized, but it is very important on national wise, but also family-wise and local-wise for the all economies actually in the world. But we are in the Balkan. We want to consider this geographic area.
Excellent. So you have founded four companies. Which one taught you the most, and was it the one that worked best or the one that didn't?
Yeah, it's hard to say which one, but from each company I've learned a lot. And I'm on LinkedIn. I have LinkedIn since 2011, I think, so 15 years. And I started basically exploring all the possibilities on LinkedIn since maybe 2.5 years. And I started some series of posts what didn't work, what I fucked up actually in my previous work. Sorry for the language, but I'm always honest. What I fucked up in my previous companies and in my career, and those posts are the most used posts in on my LinkedIn. So there are a lot of mistakes in a sense of a hiring, lack of firing, in a sense of choosing partners. There is the whole bunch. There is we can record five podcasts of explaining you how to and how not to decide who will be your partner or not. And I was choosing the partners like. Very fast and without any strategy. So there are a lot of things that I have learned, but the most important one is that nobody is going to save you as an entrepreneur, and you are actually alone. Even the family and the closest friends are actually they love you, but they will not support you as much as you wanted them to support. And people like you and the people who doesn't know you will support you more, maybe. So basically, that is a hard truth. And as soon as you realize that you are alone in this area, in this entrepreneurial path, as soon as you will continue and succeed.
Excellent. So, what surprised you the most in this entrepreneurial journey? What thing you think would be totally different, but appears the opposite?
Yeah, I thought that I will earn my first 10 millions very soon.
Great one.
But it didn't come. It didn't come so soon. It didn't come yet. But I'm in a good way, in a good on a good path. Everything needs time, and I'm very proactive, and I think always in front of time. You saw that we did. AI in 2017-18, we did virtual reality in 2016. So basically, I was always ahead of time, and basically, I needed that mindset which I have right now, that I'm here to stay. When I realized that this is that this game of entrepreneurship is not a finite game, that I cannot win I cannot win some other my colleague, and we can work together. And if I extend that period of time for 20 years, and if I stick every day and work very hard, I think that nobody competes that.
Excellent. So, what was the best business advice you received, or the worst one?
The best business advice that I received is that I need to control and regulate my nervous system. We are as physical, we are also spiritual, and also a spiritual being, and also we need to regulate our nervous system. There is a sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system. Sympathetic nervous system is flight or fight, and parasympathicus is basically when you digest and your nervous system is calm. Nobody can run a business in a sympathetic way, in that flight or fight mode, for extended period of time. We must learn to regulate our nervous system. We must do meditations, prayers, yoga, you name it. It doesn't matter. You call it however you want. We must learn to regulate our nervous system in order to be productive as possible. So that is actually nobody said it to me. Actually, I now actually thought about it a little bit, and that is something that I want to tell to the world, actually.
Great. So, do you think that today is the best period of time ever to start a business and to run a successful business?
Yeah, today is today is like a playground for us. So with AI, everything changed. Everything has changed with an AI, and we now can work on our ideas. Basically, you see on the back of my side, there are a lot of books. In front of me, there is a lot of books, and basically, AI is helping me to digest ideas and digest the problems and ideas and the solutions very quickly, and it helps me to get a better decision in a quicker way. So in order to start a business, it's never going to be so easy. Maybe in the future, who knows what comes, but now is the best time to start, test, execute, and fail. And if doesn't work, we can iterate and basically start again. So we can start a business in a month, and we can test the narrative of our product or service in very quick way, and nobody has excuse.
Excellent. Now we have a comment. Florian said that he thinks that economy will go in degrowth. What do you say about that?
I used to have a macroeconomy exam in my economy, but I'm not like an expert in that field. Basically, what I want to do, how I think is very locally. Of course, informed about the economies and economic situation, wars, etc. But I like to stick with the idea that I have, and I'm very narrow with that idea, because I cannot change anything in that way. But I'm involved. Informed about it.
Okay, so uh, uh, regarding your past and things that you have done, would you do something different if you would start again?
Actually, I was thinking about it recently, and I have a group of friends, 7 of us, very successful entrepreneurs. We are friends, and we see each other almost every month. And some of the friends asked that question in the last gathering, and actually, one thing came across my mind. I would choose differently the people around me at the beginning of my career. I would choose carefully who I am giving the attention, to who I'm giving my energy and time. So I'm not saying that I was lost and etc., but I would choose a little bit differently how I would who I would let in my area and my space, and who I would hang around with the most.
So, and what do you think? What do you feel is the most rewarding part of the being the entrepreneur?
One word: freedom.
Okay.
Freedom is the basically the most important value on the top of priority value in my bucket list. So I started this journey in order to have a freedom. I didn't have a freedom to move so quickly until 2021, when I started my consulting business. Now I can go with my MacBook, and I do so all around the world, work from anywhere, when I want, with whom I want, how long I want, etc.
Great. Is that does that have something to do with you are talking or writing about owners whose business looks successful from the outside while they're running on empty inside? Uh, what is the thing that you notice when you walk into this company, and how do you fix it, or what do you fix first?
Yeah, as I said, there are two components. We need to have a founder who is willing to change one himself and is willing to change the company. He needs to change the mindset. He needs to change the values. He needs to work hard on himself, and after that he needs to work hard on the company. If we don't have that match, we cannot have the successful business and the successful project at the end.
Excellent. So, some people said that there are two mindsets. One is that people think that life or things in economy happen for you and happen to you.
Mhm.
So you would choose the first one.
Absolutely, absolutely. There is a perfect orchestration in. I believe in God, and I think that everything is perfectly orchestrated in our world. We just need to align ourselves with that perfect orchestration and let go that rigidly we want to pursue. If we want that particular client on the Wednesday, 22nd of some months, and we want a particular amount of money, of course we need to have the goals, but also we need to let go of how and when it will happen. So I really think that the life is perfectly orchestrated and everything comes at the right time for us. We just need to be prepared. We need to work hard. We need to work very, very hard and to pursue our goals, but we need to detach how and when it will come.
Excellent. So, if you would give advice for somebody who's starting as an entrepreneur, what do you say? What are the first steps and how to approach this world?
Yeah, basically, there are three different ways of doing it. If we talk about the person who is in his 20s, start fast, execute fast, fail fast, move on. If you are in 30s, 40s, you have a wife and children, there is a different approach. We need to be a little bit more conscious about how and when and which company are working. We need to set up a strategy a little bit differently. We cannot live like we are in 20s. And also, if we are a baby boomer, we have lived our lives very successfully. Also, we can a little bit live like in 20s. We can start again. And I always admire people who are young in the soul, not in the body.
Thank you. We're about the end of our conversation. Any final thoughts?
Yeah, basically, we are in a very interesting period of time in human history. We have a lot of things that we must digest, let's say, and that FOMO effect can basically put us aside from our mission. So there are a lot of shining objects always in our surrounding, but the one thing that is very, very on top of my list on high valued things is attention. Work on your attention. If you can master your attention and be good at it for an extended period of time, it is, let's say, prophecy that you will succeed in life.
Well, thank you for all your wisdom and lovely talk, and good night.
Thank you so much for invitation.
You're welcome.